meeting, regular session for Wednesday, December 8th, 2021. I will call the meeting to order at 5:20. Mr. Zerlo, would you please conduct a roll call? Go. Excuse me. Would you join me in the pledge of allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Michael. Would you please conduct a roll call?
Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Hughes and Mr. Kretzer have asked to be excused this evening. Mr. Perrier.
Here.
Mr. Potiker.
Here.
Mr. Timmons. Here. Ms. Waldron.
Here.
All legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes of November 17th, 2021, regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes. I have a motion by legislator Hall, second by legislator Perrier. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. At this time, I'd like to introduce a very special guest this evening. Tonight, we are fortunate to have Senator Dan Steck with us. Senator Steck would like to recognize Steve Bowman, who we all know. He's the former Veterans Service Director for Clinton County and is a member of the New York State Veterans Hall of Fame. So congratulations, Steve. I'm sure the Senator will have more to say about that. Senator Steck.
All right, well, thank you. First and foremost, greetings, everyone. Thanks for giving me a few minutes here today to recognize one of your own, somebody that I don't need to sing the praises for in this room because you all know Steve and worked with him a lot better and a lot longer than I have. But as a new member of the Senate, one of the things that the Senate does is it has a Veterans Hall of Fame, and I get to select a veteran to that once a year as a member of the Senate and recognize them. Now, normally, in a pre-COVID world, what would happen is there would be a ceremonial lunch where all the Veterans Hall of Fame inductees would be invited to Albany. There would be a luncheon in the Capitol, and then you'd be brought over to the Senate chamber, and they would introduce you, and you see the beautiful room. It's almost as nice as this room, but it is a nice room. And you know, certainly you know, meet other people that have very similar passions and successes with veterans as Steve has. So we're blessed to have that many people you know, that are working to help our veterans. And I know that, you know, you're in good hands here with your successor. You know, you trained him well, and I had a chance to meet him in his office not too long ago, and lend my support. I think everyone knows, but I don't want to take it for granted. And also, I think it's important, you know, now in the the event that we've got here, to remind everyone I'm a veteran, you know, and I come from a family of veterans. So the military and our veterans are something that's important to me personally. I try not to have a bias in the things that I do, and I try to represent everyone equally, but sometimes what you're familiar with or what you were raised to honor and respect finds a way to find its way to your, you know, the forefront of your efforts. And for me, one of those areas happens to be veterans. My dad's one of 12 kids, 7 boys, all 7 of them. My dad and my 6 uncles all served. My mom was one of 5. Both of her brothers were in the Navy. My mother's father was a Navy chief. My father's father was a blacksmith in the Polish cavalry. Came over on the boat and was in the Army, and then in the Army Air Corps. He was a mechanic for Billy Mitchell. So my grandfather knew Billy Mitchell, and he actually one time met Charles Lindbergh. So it's something that, you know, my family's proud of that service. And you know, my 8 years in the Navy, so that's one of the reasons why I think Mark and I get along so well. You know, but you serve, and today the good news is that everyone that served today, they did so as volunteers. You know, I mean, for the most part, you know, my dad's Vietnam era veteran, there's still some that have been drafted, but today's you know, service members are volunteers, so they're there by their own choice, and I think there's value in that. But we as a society, I think, have a duty to do what we can for our veterans. You know, they serve and they sacrifice, and I think part of our social contract with them is to make sure that we do right by them when they leave the service. And we all say that, and guys like me today, is largely limited to, I get to vote in favor of stuff that does that. But offices like the one that Steve ran for many years here, they do that on a daily basis. They deal with the individual issues. They're all different. Some of them, they've kind of seen something similar before, but everyone's issue is the most important issue to them. And they're the frontline workers of dealing with the federal bureaucracy, occasionally the state bureaucracy, whether it's a health issue, a mental health issue, a substance abuse issue, a benefits issue, an insurance issue, a life issue. And I've said this before, I think it's important to remind fellow legislators, my colleagues, that a lot of times veterans are more comfortable talking to other veterans. It's a natural shorthand. There's a trust that's there. At least there's a commonality of experience that allows you to break down some barriers. So, again, now we'll start talking a little bit about Steve and his years in the Air Force, but then I think as importantly, after he left active duty, his years in service here to the veterans community and not only Clinton County, but the entire North Country. I was kidding him beforehand, I don't think there's too many veterans organizations I can think of that he wasn't at least a member of, if not maybe the commander of. And so that's, that tells me that this is something that he took beyond a job. This wasn't a job that he just did, Monday through Friday to take care of business. I'm sure he did that, but in addition to that, he gave up his own personal time. It was a calling more than a job for him. And then when I was given the opportunity to make this nomination and asking, hey, first thing that comes to my mind is the county veterans coordinators. And as soon as I did that, Steve immediately jumped to the top for me. So I want to congratulate Steve on his recognition, but more importantly, his career and life of service, not only to the community and the country, but to his fellow veterans. It's something that's important to me personally, and that's something I deeply respect him and I thank him for, and his family too, because I'm sure that he brings those stories home, and and they're not always interesting, stories, and they're not always easy stories to hear. And as much as he tried, he wasn't able to solve all those problems either. I'm sure that he carried that with him too, and so he did as well. So with that said, Steve, I have two things. I have a plaque for you. I have a big plaque and a little plaque. So we're big believers in redundancy in the military, all right? My staff doesn't get it, but I know you do. So first, I'm going to give you the Hall of Fame plaque to Steve Bowman, presented by myself for the 45th Senate.
Steve, can you look over here? Great.
Then Steve. So that's like the normal ensign. This would be the holiday ensign that we would fly on July 4th. This is a little more your bio, something that hopefully you find a place on your wall, which I'm sure is covered with a lot of stuff like this. But
Hey, gentlemen, turn that, there you go. Oh, too much. Right there.
Okay, look
Take
towards
the
us.
glare off it.
Perfect.
Ma'am, you don't have to sit, you can come out here.
Oh, I'm good, I got it, thank you, yeah.
or post for a picture with him. You don't really.
Get up there, ladies.
No, I'm good.
You get it?
Yep.
All right, and Steve, anything you'd like to say? I'd certainly like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for your service.
So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Senator Steck, I'd just like to thank you very much for the recognition. This is not something that I sought. But as all of you legislators know, when I started here in 2004, my goal was to help my brother and sister veterans and to help improve their lives. And I think that we were able to achieve that in our office. I think we've been able to do that ever since I started in 2004. And this really has been, like Senator Steck said, it's been a lifestyle for me. I know it is for Kevin. The kind of work that we do impacts everybody that we come in contact with on a daily basis. And we gain friendships, with those individuals that we're working with, we know the families, and it becomes a lifelong process that we're helping those veterans. And believe me, even though I'm retired now, it does not mean that I stop. I still volunteer through the veterans organizations, children and youth programs. I'm still involved with our Veterans Feeding Veterans programs here in Clinton County. And I'm also involved in legislative actions to work on the New York State Veterans Cemetery issues. And as the need arises for me to get involved with the senator and our assemblyman, be assured I'll be knocking on your door, or I'll be giving you a call. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm comfortable with. It's who I am. And just because I'm retired doesn't mean that it stops. It will continue on. It's a work that I truly believe in. It's personal to me, and I enjoy it. So even though I'm retired, I'm not going away. So, but thank you for allowing us to have this platform tonight to recognize me. Thank you for all the efforts that you've done, along with your staff, to make sure that this stuff, this recognition happens. I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
No disrespect, Steve, if you
we're
don't want to be part of the county meeting.
Thank you. Steve, don't take it personally. We would like all of you to stay and help us work through 80 pages of resolution. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Nice seeing you again. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Second.
I'm a hugger.
I know you are, so am I.
I'm hungry.
Not supposed to, but I do.
Thank you. No, I know. Take care.
Well, Senator, I don't know if you thought you were going to get off that easy or not.
I never did.
Well, if you've got a report or anything you'd like to ask us, and then if you have the time, perhaps it would be possible to take a couple of questions from the legislature. Do you have time for that?
Absolutely. You know, report-wise, I mean, I got a couple things that I want to say, but nothing, you know, certainly prepared. I really rather respect your time in answering the questions that you all may have. But I think this is the first opportunity that I've taken to be with you in person. I know that I came earlier on in the year, most of you were via Zoom, and I've run into several of you at numerous things around Clinton County over the last year. But it's great to see everyone all together in one place. You know, the COVID is, you know, a year ago, if we thought that we'd be here right now, I think that we thought no, but COVID's still hanging on, so there's still a big push there. I know that, you know, I've been following the North Country hub that you guys get together, and I'm aware that I think it's Clinton and Franklin counties have declared states of emergency.
Yes, Senator, I believe in the region, ours never lapsed.
Okay.
Franklin reinstated.
Yep.
And I believe Lewis, St. Lawrence,
Yep.
Jefferson are all reinstated.
And my understanding is Essex is about to reinstate, and I know my home counties, down where I grew up in the Assembly District, Essex County is about to, and Warren and Washington are talking about, but they're in the capital region, as far as how they're organized. But, and you get asked questions about, vaccines. Where are you on the vaccines? I mean, who would have thought that that would become some sort of litmus, test for, or a partisan question? I think that we're all more or less on the same page. But I'll speak for myself on the vaccines. I'm vaccinated. I believe that they're safe and that they are effective. I think the information, the statistics show that. I know, talking to all the hospital administrators in my district that I have, throughout the pandemic and as recently as the last few days, they're all saying the same thing, that most of the people that are coming into the hospital related COVID, most, not all, are unvaccinated. So they're saying anecdotally, statistically, in their smaller sample areas, they're all pushing the vaccine. I also understand there's a lot of people that don't trust them. My message is simple. For those that care, I think it's kind of personal business, but I guess in the work that we do, not everything that we do in our lives, they want to keep personal. They want to know. So I'm not shy. I'm vaccinated. Not that it's anyone else's business, but I don't think my wife or my parents would mind. They're vaccinated. When I was in the Navy, I kid though, as like it seemed every time I turned around, somebody was jabbing me with something, and they weren't asking for permission first. So I've been desensitized to getting shots and vaccinations. But all kidding aside, though, I do think it's a personal choice. I think the way to get to the personal choices, you talk about it, you educate people and let them know. But at the end of the day, I believe it's an individual's choice. I draw the line at government making people get it. I certainly draw the line at an executive order making people get it. I think if we must head down this path, then I'll go back to, I want the legislature to have a seat at the table and discuss and debate this as well, as we were elected to do. But I didn't come here to dwell on that, but I figured, because everyone's kind of focused on the vaccine issue again lately, our rates are good. We've got a fairly high, but not universal vaccination rate in the North Country. You think your county has done a very good job with it. But yet Delta is still kicking our butt, and everyone's wondering what Omicron is going to mean for us. With that said, kudos to keeping the lights on, keeping businesses open. We need to continue to live life. We need to operate so that our hospitals have funding, so that they can provide the COVID response. So it's all very important balance that we're trying to strike. And like anything else, you get 10 people in a room, you're going to get 10 different ideas of what that perfect balance should look like. So, and with the 10 of you, you've been getting that done for a long time. So keep doing what you're doing. I congratulate you, and I thank you for your patience. As far as legislatively, myself, anything that my office can do for Clinton County, you as individual legislators, you as individual constituents, any of your constituents, your businesses, let me know. If there's something that I can do, I will. I've got great staff. I brought my chief of staff, Deb Capizzuti, with me here. Deb, this is our first year together in the Senate, but before that, I was in the Assembly for 8 years, and Deb was with me. She was my chief of staff all 8 of those years. And before that, she was with Assemblywoman Teresa Sayward for 8 years before that. So she's got 17 years in and around Albany and North Country issues. So she's got a lot of experience in corporate memory. I've got some of Betty's staff stay with me, so there's also some continuity there and some familiarity with older issues that maybe I wasn't involved with. So there's a continuity there. It's not perfect. There may be things that are lost on us, but the good news is I have Betty's cell phone number in my phone. I can get a hold of her in a heartbeat, and her former staff members to ask any questions. We're there to work for you. And it should go without saying, but in this climate and social media and everything, I'll just add, when we get a call from any of you or from any of your constituents or any business, I don't care what the party affiliation is, we don't ask, we don't look it up. Some of you I happen to know because I know who you are, but we don't care. We're here to get the job done. I have my opinions on things, as we all do. But, you know, when it comes time to, I've got a problem with this state bureaucracy, or I need clarification on this, or what's the status of that grant? You know, I don't have a really good answer on the status of grants lately, we're fighting that fight, but as an example, anything that, you know, that you want us to work on, we're gonna work on it for you. And the last thing I'll close with before I just say, please ask me any questions is, you know, you guys are an hour and 40-minute ride from my front door. This is not a big deal. An hour and 40 minutes may sound like a long ways for some people. I've been totally desensitized to that. An hour and 40 minutes for me is almost like going to the corner store. It's not that big a deal. So don't ever say, nah, we won't call Dan, because, you know, if I can't make it, or if we don't think that I need to be there and somebody else is gonna cover it, we'll figure that out. But I don't want anyone to assume, he's not interested. If it's important to you, it's important to me. And we'll try to figure out, you know, and if I need to come to something, go see something, be at a meeting, that's the job. That's what I ran for, and I've been doing it in the assembly for a long time. I know I'm new to you guys, but I'm not new to it, and I know how to do it, and I think I'm good at it, but I need to show you all that I know what I'm doing. So, with that said, you know, if there's anything you want to ask specific about legislatively, or, you know, what's going on in Albany, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Apologize if you keep playing with my hands.
Anybody have anything? I'll just lead off if I may. You are a frequent flyer up there, a frequent driver. I know I see you all the time. We talk all the time. I appreciate your availability for issues of the county. I appreciate the efforts that you put forth for the folks of our county and our region. As you stated before, we have reinstituted weekly calls among the 7 counties up here in our area. Every Friday. We'll have one this Friday. There's many issues that we talk about, but the top 2 issues we're talking about right now are vaccinations and testing.
Yes.
And not that vaccinations aren't the key issue here, but testing seems to be harder. It seems to be a harder lift to get the testing sites we need, the tests we need, the turnaround. Many of them are taking too long. And so I'm not speaking for the other counties, I'm speaking for myself. It is a topic of conversation. Is there any insight you have, again, in particular for the testing quandary that we're in?
So, and then the last week, I got 3 BOCES areas in my Senate district. I've got the Champlain Valley, I got FEH up this way, and then down south I got Warren, Washington, Saratoga, Essex, Hamilton. So I had an in-person meeting late last with FEH and Champlain Valley, and then 2 days before that I had a Zoom with the ones from Warren, Washington, and Saratoga County. And the school superintendents in those meetings, they pointed the same thing. I know that I believe Franklin and Saratoga County are 2 counties that have the test to stay for schools. And, you know, because I know that there's, especially early on, I remember there was a problem with inconsistency. There was a lot of back and forth between Clinton and Franklin County about, you know, what the quarantine protocols were and weren't for schools. And so now you had one school is doing it one way and another school is doing it, and the parents were all talking and getting angry, and there was a difference between how the 2 counties were doing things. So I understand that Franklin and Saratoga County were given test to stay options, but all the counties, you know, because you don't, the healthcare workers have to be vaccinated, but your school workers either can be vaccinated or tested. And a lot of the school districts were complaining that their own testing supplies for their own employees is running low. So, I mean, and these are, you know, there's a lot of people that they're consuming a lot of the testing resources, and they're saying they're running out. So I know that there's a testing shortage. We're working on a letter to the Commissioner of State Ed, asking her to look into the testing materials, you know, the testing materials and the protocols, some of the quarantine protocols. If you're in a classroom, you know, a kid within 3 feet of another kid that tests positive for COVID, it gets quarantined, but the whole school bus would be quarantined. And the schools are pointing out that shortage of workers, not just bus drivers, but shortage of teachers. So, I mean, if the schools are complaining that they don't have enough help, enough employees, that's an issue as well. But I know that the testing, the schools specifically said that there's not enough testing material. So I don't know if that's a supply chain issue of itself, or if they're not getting here. And then what's the solution? Either getting more materials here or changing your protocols. You know, I mean, we can't tell you, you gotta test, 100 tests a week and only give you 20 test kits. I mean, that's not fair to you. I mean, you're set up for failure. It's an impossible test. I think most people would say, well, we'd rather have a test than water down or lax in the requirements, but it may be a combination of those two things. But I'm hearing about the testing from the schools as well.
Thank you. Mr. Zerlo?
Yes, Senator, I think you're aware I'm on the Association of County Board of Directors, and I think today we released our legislative program for the upcoming session. And while I have you here, I'm gonna just rip off the four priorities that I'm sure you're gonna hear about numerous times, as you begin session. And two of them have to do with sales tax. As you are aware, county governments were forced to pay for the aid incentive for municipalities, the aid program for the townships.
Yeah.
Now, the townships, in our humble opinion, deserve whatever the state of New York decides to give them. We believe in that program. We just don't believe county sales tax should pay for that program.
Right. I agree with you.
Secondly, what was legislated was a sales tax intercept for the distressed hospitals fund. And that is set to expire in statute. We want to ensure that does in fact expire,
Right.
and that the intercept does not continue. That to our little county here was over $600,000 in 2021. Thirdly, you also know that how the Medicaid program works, and we are supposed to receive our reconciliation. We're supposed to pay 80% of our bill, and then it gets reconciled. And we've got 5 years of reconciliation waiting for us somewhere in Albany to the tune of over $3 million, New Clinton County.
You said $3 million?
Over $3 million. And lastly, one you've heard and continue to hear is investment in local health departments. Not only is the staff worn out and tired, but things like testing kits and more money to hire temporary staff to do some of this work would be greatly appreciated. This is a 20-page document. These were our top 4 priorities. I'm sure the association will be making the rounds of the Capitol, but I wanted to bring those to your attention this evening.
The first two again, just rattle off.
The two sales tax diversions, one
Yes.
of the AIDS municipalities, and the second one is the distressed hospital fund, which is set to expire.
Right.
The rumor is, as the next budget is negotiated, that this state has gotten used to that sales tax intercept.
So both of those were done in the budget. I opposed both of those budget bills, but those were two of the elements in the budget that I was hearing about before we voted on them that I opposed. The hospital fund, the other question with that is, it's going into a fund, what hospitals get that fund? Conceivably, all that diversion could go to hospitals in New York City. And so that was one of the...
Actually, the chairman and I were speaking to the vice president of CVPH this afternoon, and while we didn't want the intercept to happen,
You wanted to say, how do we get our slice?
we would have loved that 800,000 to stay in Plattsburgh.
Nope. And I was asked over the last year or two about that from various North Country hospitals, saying, how do we get a hold of, how do we apply for that money? There is no application, so that funding is ripe for getting abused, or certainly not evenly distributed back to where it came from. And again, that may not be the right thing to do, but I don't blame you if no one wants to give a blank check to somebody else and have it consumed. So that one's an easy one. The aid to municipality funding, I thought it was really rich to say, all right, well, we're not going to, because the local governments complained about it, so the state's solution to that in the budget was, all right, we're going to make you whole by taking the money from the county. That was crazy.
Which is just less to share with them in with our normal sharing
Correct.
formulas as well.
Yeah. The good news, I think, on that front is that I think that kind of budget gimmick was unique to the previous administration. My hope is the new governor that might not be a practice that the new governor wants to continue. She's looking to separate herself from her predecessor. understandably so. And I think that when people point out to her the unfairness on that, you know, that what was done there was not right to local government, it's not right to, certainly to counties. You know, that should be an easy one for her to distance herself from. You know, and on the healthcare front, you know, I opened with vaccines, and we talked a little bit about mandates, and you know, that I'm not a believer in mandates. I'm certainly not a believer in a mandate that doesn't come with legislation. I mean, that would be like, you know, this board, you know, letting Mike Zerlo, you know, invent, you know, county policy all by himself. I mean, that's, you know, unless the board has to say. Well, you know, I mean, you gotta have either a lot of trust in Mike's capability and honesty, or you gotta be exceptionally lazy to want to do that. I think in the case of Albany, I think there was, I don't think it was a tremendous confidence in the governor at the time. I think that the legislature kind of got a little lazy. They started transferring power to the executive. So, but on the front of the mandates and our healthcare workers, you know, well, I get the argument that, hey, somebody that's working in healthcare really should, one, know better / be, you know, more comfortable with the concept and the risks versus rewards of vaccinations. And they're exposed by the nature of the work to more people. I mean, that's a good idea for a healthcare worker to be vaccinated. I understand that logic. But I also don't know how, after the year and a half of walking through fire that our healthcare workers have done for us, before there was a vaccine available to them, taking all those risks that they did, knowing, you know, what the risks are and how to minimize them for their own protection. In a shortage where we're bringing in the National Guard and some of our local hospitals are paying, you know, per diem 2 or 3 times the normal salary to get a nurse to come work at the hospital. And oh, by the way, they're not plucking these nurses out of the sky. They're pulling these nurses from other work. I've had dialysis firms complain that they're losing dialysis nurses because, you know, hospitals are hiring them away. There's a shortage of healthcare workers. I don't know how it's, you know, the right answer to mandate you're going to either get this vaccination or you're not. We don't want your help to a healthcare worker. You know, but so I recognize that our healthcare workers have literally walked through fire for us, and they've got to be exhausted, and we should be doing whatever we can. So I think that was your fourth point that you brought up, Mike. You know, one of the things that I think is NISAC is looking at. It's a bill that's I think locally you're aware of because it's got local sponsorship. But EMS, ambulance districts. So Senator Little had a couple bills. She had a statewide bill with Billy Jones, and she had a local Essex County bill with me to try to get to the question of allowing counties to set up, because it's a crisis. Myself, before I was in the assembly, I was a town supervisor for 9 years. Warren County is a board of supervisors. So in addition to being a town supervisor, I was also on Warren County's county legislature. And my last 2 years, I was the chair. So I say that to back up and say, I've sat in your seats. I've done a lot of the same kind of work that you've done. So the county board, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this?
911.
EMS, thank you. So everyone's got an ambulance crisis, and it makes sense to allow a county to set up a taxing district. No one's in a hurry to, you know, raise taxes, new taxing districts. I get all that, but there's certain efficiencies that a county can bring that individual towns can't. So Essex County, that bill got through that Betty and I carried. The assembly insisted that the bill be changed, so the bill went at it a different way. I'm not sure that the way that Essex County is getting it done would appeal to Clinton County. It's a general fund tax. It's not a special district, so you can't opt in or opt out. The whole county will pay this tax. What made it work for Essex County is the state also gave a lot of money to Essex County to get it started. So they took the money, and at some point they're going to run into the whole, it's a general fund tax. But they wanted to head that way, and they did. And so far it's working, but it's early. But the idea of we want a statewide, let any county do this, also resisted, especially by downstate, for-profit. They did not like the idea of making it easy to form a countywide district. So we're looking at that bill again, because I know that NISAC has expressed an interest in that bill. One of the things that we're gonna probably do is put in a second bill. I still have the statewide bill that Betty had, I inherited that one from her. We're probably also gonna have one for just Adirondack counties. So we'll limit it to 12 counties. That hopefully will politically take some pressure off the down, from the downstate argument. And it will make it available to any county that has all or some of it in the inside blue line, which would be Clinton County. Obviously, it would be optional, it would just be available to you, it's a district, you either wanted to do it or not want to do it. It's early yet, the bill hasn't been drafted yet, but it's not a complicated bill to write. It's not gonna get voted on the first couple weeks in January, so I don't, there's no reason to be alarmed that there's something coming and we haven't seen it yet. I just wanna put it out there that Billy Jones is aware of the issue, I'm aware of the issue, and we've got legislation that we're both looking at, a statewide bill or maybe an Adirondacks only bill to try to give you authority to implement it if it works for you. Some of your towns are saying, we're good, we're big enough, we've got it under control, we don't need a county district. That's a local decision for you guys all to work out. But for all your smaller towns, I know Warren County's the same way, you've got Queensbury, Glens Falls, and then outside of that, towns get small really fast, and the ambulance service gets sparse really fast. They've got an interest in compiling them together into a single district, economies of scale, that kind of argument. So it's something else, bringing up NISAC that I thought I'd mention, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for the senator?
Can I ask?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Last week, we had our last meeting with our director of the health department. And he pleaded at that stand that we get a vaccine clinic back in Plattsburgh. I know that the state has opened some in some other parts of the state. What's the chances that we could get that here, along with, and maybe tie it together with a testing facility in the same location?
It's funny you mentioned that. So the state opened the pod, first of all, not that I toured the pods with the state of New York, but everyone, I saw the one here over at the old air base. The pod that you had, I think was one of the most efficient operations I saw. It was laid out for that airport. You had all kinds of space, you didn't mess up traffic, you had multiple bays, you pull in, 20 cars at once, pull them back out in the dead of winter. It was really, it was quite an operation. Down in Queensbury, in the former Sears store in the Aviation Mall, they opened a similar one. That one did really well too. They got theirs several weeks after Plattsburgh got its. Just a couple weeks ago, after pleading with the state, Warren and Washington County got them to reopen that pod in Sears. And that pod is both vaccination and testing. And as a matter of fact, because I think the county was proud of itself, that's the first site that both testing and vaccinations are co-located in the state. So good for them, that's good. But to your concern, well, how does that help, Clinton County? The governor said, I don't want to quote, certainly don't want to misquote the governor, but the governor said in a recent report, any community that wanted a pod, they would look to do one. And she was pretty clear that, my takeaway was if you had a pod, it shouldn't be hard to restart your pod. Now, like I said, I apologize to the governor if I didn't understand that quote correctly, but I think the governor has expressed a desire to reestablish pods if you want them. So if the county hasn't reached out, you've been dealing with it's the same group that you've been dealing with in the executive, you reach out to them if you want my involvement, I'm happy to lend it, but I think it is probably something that the county can have that conversation with state. I don't know if there's an issue with reopening it where it was or not, but I remember that the governor did say that she wanted to make these available. Now, I don't necessarily think she was talking about testing and vaccination everywhere, but I'd ask if that's the direction the county wanted to go.
Yeah, our county, we have reached out, we've had conversations with these vaccination sites, expanded vaccination, expanding testing, all that. We are particularly focused on expanding vaccinations, help from New York State with that, whatever that means, pods, whatever. We've also asked for testing. We are hoping that we have been heard, and we'll see what happens over the next year.
It just got reopened in Queensbury a week ago, so I don't know how long this should or may take, but I think the governor and her administration seem pretty serious about wanting to ramp up and amp up vaccinations and testing again. So I think it's just a matter of working out the details on specifics.
The local pharmacies can do about 55 or 60 a day. They're backed up like 2 months. So
Yeah.
someone who, and people are starting, I think, to realize maybe the vaccine isn't so bad after all. And the non-believers are starting to become believers, but now they go online and they're 2 months out before they can get a vaccination.
Well, one of the things we were hearing from our pharmacists was that they've got all the regular work to do. And they can't have the phone ringing off the hook for I mean, as something as simple as that sounds, but you think about it, you know, you've got the normal business of running your business, and then you're also a call center and a vaccine center. And frankly, our health departments, they've got all the work that they normally have to do anyways. And I mean, it's one thing to say, well, you know what, for the next 2 months, we're gonna be really busy with vaccinating. They've been doing this for 2 years now. So they've got.
It's gotten worse now, Senator, in the sense that last year when it was bad, they were doing nothing but contact tracing.
Right.
Everything, all the day-to-day stuff stopped.
So they're playing catch-up.
Now, to make it worse, we've got high numbers for our local health departments, and they have to do all the day-to-day stuff now still that they didn't have to do before, so it's even harder than it was then. That's the challenge they face.
But if
So
I
we're looking to mitigate all of that. We've been on the phone with it, we've talked with them, hopefully, we will have a positive result here soon.
And, I mean, again, if you need or want my involvement and assistance, let me know. And with that said, look, you guys know what you're doing, and you've got this. But if I can help, if you just say the word, and we'll do whatever you want.
Well, thank you. Anybody short? Thank you, Senator. Very much.
All right. If it's all right with you and everyone's done with me, we're gonna head south. And I hope that you didn't say, my God, I told so-and-so I'd be home for dinner and now Steck is making me late. But if that helps you, I'll take that bullet for you.
No, all you did was use up all the time Mike would have used, so it's the same.
I know, right?
It's the same.
All right, but again, thank you, and don't be shy reaching out, I mean, you guys got your organization here, your communications, how it works internally, but if there's a one-off question, or something specific, and you guys know how to do it, don't be shy, but don't step on Mike's toes either. You like I said, you know where Mike's no-fly zones are, respect that. Because if you give him that executive authority, he's gonna drop the hammer on you.
No, that's not it.
I noticed he already had his list all ready to go.
Right.
Thank you, Senator. Yep. Thank you, Justice.
See, I just, I forgot what's from here, I would like to stop in and see the senator's old office. We've got some old Senate pictures and stuff.
How's the Congress?
Well, the congressman is,
Tell him I
much
said
a
hello.
pain in the ass as ever.
That means he's healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell him I said hello.
Yeah, well,
That's what I
I'd
will.
like to do that.
I'm gonna make a note on the way home,
Yeah.
next time we're in town.
Yeah.
I put together a list of stuff like, next time I need to, I'm gonna be there, I can fill out the call,
Yeah, we'd like to see it.
Thank you.
All right, Chairman.
Congrats again. Nice to meet you.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry
Hopefully I'll see you before New Year's, but just in case, I'll meet you. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we have anybody, but is there anybody in the audience who wishes to share their thoughts or concerns with the legislature? Anyone at all? Okay. We will go to the committee reports. I'll call the chair of each committee, that's ordered by committee, starting with buildings and grounds and legislative Timmons.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Buildings and Grounds Committee has not met since the last regular session. James Cleveland, the Buildings and Grounds Superintendent, provided an update on the Government Center roof project, stating that finishing material has been delivered and is currently being installed. Mr. Cleveland anticipates this project will be completed in a few weeks with punch list items to follow. The next Buildings and Grounds Committee is tentatively scheduled for, actually, the Monday, December 13th meeting has been actually canceled. And the reports.
Thank you, sir. Children and Family Services, legislative Bob.
Thank you, Chairman. The Children and Family Services Committee met on Tuesday, December 7th. John Redden, the Commissioner of the Department of Social Services, was present to discuss several resolutions, including authorizing Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act, CARA, funds application and acceptance, and authorizing enhanced adult protective services to respond to COVID-19 grant application and acceptance. Mr. Redden also discussed the monthly statistics for November 2021. Resolutions number 911 through 917 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee recommendations. End of report.
Thank you very much. Economic Development and County Operations, Legislator Walden.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Economic Development and County Operations Committee met earlier. Beth Gillis of the Lake Champlain Lake George Regional Planning Board provided the committee with a presentation on Forward Together Economic Resiliency Plan. Jody Courier from the Commissioner of the Board of Elections was present to discuss 4 resolutions, including authorizing a contract with Carpenter Brothers Moving and Storage Incorporated and authorizing memorandum of understanding with various polling sites. Tammy Lacy, the real property director, was also present to discuss resolution authorizing contract with Systems Development Group SDG Incorporated. Resolutions 918 through 922 have been placed on tonight's agenda and the report.
Finance, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee met on Monday, November 29th, to discuss the Clinton County budget. Kimberly Davis, the county treasurer, was present to discuss sales tax and 3 resolutions, including authorizing contracts with Glens Falls National Bank and Trust Company and authorizing the county treasurer to appropriate 2021 American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA, funds to various accounts. Resolutions 923 through 925 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The committee was also pulled on resolutions 926 and 927. Public hearing for the 2022 budget will be held on Wednesday, December 15th, with final passing on Monday, December 20th.
Thank you.
And just to add that, everybody is aware that the candidate budget is and delivered to you folks and is available to the public in preparation of the public hearing on the bill.
Health Committee, Mr. Zerlo.
Yeah, on behalf of Legislator Hughes, the Health Committee met on December 1st. Michelle Gregory, Director of Community Services, was present to discuss 3 resolutions, including authorizing contract amendment with Community Connections of Franklin County. John Canoza, Director of Public Health, was also present to discuss 3 resolutions, including authorizing contract with Child Care Coordinating Council of the North Country and authorizing contract with Southern Adirondack Child Care Network. Mr. Canoza also reviewed the Director's report from October 2021 and the Health Department report for November 2021. The Director also provided a brief update on COVID-19 cases and vaccinations. As of Monday, December 6th, there were 51 new lab confirmed cases with 303 total active cases and 428 individuals in quarantine. A total of 30 patients are hospitalized, with CVPH recording 2 recent deaths. The department will host pod vaccination clinics on Thursday at Clifton Community College. Pediatric vaccination clinics are being scheduled with an upcoming one at Shazy Elementary School on Wednesday, December 15th. Mountain View Pediatrics will also be providing clinics at the Clifton Community College Gymnasium beginning Friday, December 3rd. And resolutions 928 through 933 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Human Services, Legislator Courier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Human Services Committee scheduled for Tuesday, December 7th was canceled. The committee was pulled on resolutions 934 through 939 on today's agenda. End of report.
Thank you, sir. Personnel Committee. The Personnel Committee met on Monday, December 6th. Those resolutions will be placed on the agenda for the Monday, December 20th regular session upon recommendation of the committee. Plattsburgh International Airport, Legislator Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Plattsburgh International Airport Committee has not met since the last regular session. The committee was pulled on resolutions 940 on today's agenda. The next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 20th at 4 p.m. As of right now, I was at the airport today with Chris. I don't believe we'll have a meeting, but I'll know for sure by the middle of next week. And the report.
Public Safety Committee, Legislator Castine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee met on Monday, December 6th. Sheriff Dave Favreau presented 2 resolutions, including awarding bids for demolition, removal, and installation of hot water heater Dave Marco, Director of Probation, was present to discuss 2 resolutions for the department, including authorizing various contracts for the year 2020, 2022, and authorizing multi-year contract with ACM Global Labs Drug Scan Incorporated. Resolutions 941 through 947 have been placed on today's agenda. End of report.
Thank you. Transportation, Mr. Earl.
On behalf of Legislator Kretzer, the Transportation Committee has not met since the last regular session. The next Transportation Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, December 13 at 5:15 p.m.
Thank you very much. We'll go to liaison reports for Board of Health. We are still conducting a search for upcoming director for the health department. That is moving along. We will go to the Chamber of Commerce.
No report.
I'm sorry. Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons.
No report.
Discipline Review, nothing right there. Grievance, also nothing. Inter-County, Legislator Walden.
No report.
Gordon. LC and LG, no, we're both gone. I believe there's no report there.
Other than as Legislator Waldron discussed at the County Operations Committee, Beth Gillis did present, so the board is fully informed of the undertakings at this time.
Okay, thank you. So other legislative for you, Timmons?
Yeah, the only thing I have out there is Bruce Stimick, are we voting on him tonight, you know? He's been on our board.
I believe that
his term was.
That resolution's here
is
tonight.
on.
Yeah, so his term ran out. He is willing to serve again. He owns a decent sized farm in Peru. He's done a great job and I recommend that we vote.
Oh, fine. I think that's the very last one we handled today, if I remember correctly.
Almost, 963.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And I think that does it for that. Staff members, any reports? Ms. Keller?
I would like to request a very short executive session to provide an update on a contractual matter.
Okay. And Mr. Zerlo?
Nothing this evening.
Chairperson's report, I will just let you know that as many of you know, we talked about it in the personnel committee anyways, we had a press conference today at 2 o'clock. It was myself, John Penoza, the Vice President, Dr. Ritzema, Vice President of CPPH, and Dr. Keith Collins, who's a immunization specialist, doctor. Held a press conference regarding COVID, how much we have in this area, what Clinton County is doing, and the fact that we in Clinton County have joined with the other 6 counties of our area to declare a state of emergency. Clinton County is a little different from the others in the sense that we have already, and have always have had since the beginning of this, a declaration of state of emergency in place. We never rescinded that. Every month we renewed that. So it wasn't as big a deal for us. Other counties had rescinded their state of emergency, and now they are reinstating it based on the numbers of positives, the number of fatalities, the hospitals are getting full. That's what that is based on. That doesn't place any specific orders from that in place. That is just the base. The declaration of the state of emergency is a base that we can operate off should we need to. That's what that is. So it's really not a real change for Clinton County, but it is for others. So that was at 2 o'clock this afternoon, lasted about an hour. Thought it went well. I guess we'll see. We will turn to the resolutions. And as always, before voting on the resolutions, I'll note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees. And the legislature is taking action tonight based in large part on the recommendation of those committees. Mr. Zerlo, would you please read the title of the resolution?
Resolution 909, authorizing distribution of mortgage tax for the period April 1, 2021 through September 30, 2021. County Clerk.
Motion, Legislator Timmons, second Legislator Potiker. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
I'm sorry? Yes.
It's very aged. I apologize, on discussion on our resolution, I'd like to look at the previous year for the specific quarter. Now, house prices are up. But for that quarter, this quarter, last year, it was $649,000, and now we're distributing to the municipalities for this quarter, in 2021, $836,000, so,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
just a point of information. Resolution 910, adopting full value equalized rate for the apportionment of 2022 taxes, legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 911, authorizing payment of membership dues, Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Ms. Perrier?
Yeah.
Carried.
Resolution 912, amending Resolution 534 dated August 18, 2021, titled, authorizing the Youth Bureau to file an application for state aid for youth development program allocations and authorizing various contracts, Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Ms. Perrier?
Yeah.
Carried.
Resolution 913, amending Resolution 805 dated November 10, 2021, titled, authorizing various contracts for the year 2022 social services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Ms. Perrier?
Yeah.
Carried.
Resolution 914, amending Resolution 805 dated November 10, 2021, titled, authorizing various contracts for the year 2022 social services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Resolution 915, authorizing comprehensive addiction and recovery act funds application and acceptance social services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Resolution 916, authorizing contract with Clinton County Mental Health and Addiction Services, social services.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Mr. Perrier? Resolution 917, authorizing enhanced adult protective services to respond to COVID-19 grant application and acceptance social services.
Can we get a second from you?
No. I was wondering what's the switch, where are we going with Patty first, and, because I wasn't informed in any.
Well, it's my mistake. I'm just reading it wrong, that's all. I will split.
I just wondered if I was missing something.
No.
No? No?
I just need.
Going back to, well, we gotta go back to 916, right?
Yes.
We got a motion by legislator Potiker, a second by legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call. Patty said yes.
Yes.
Yes, second. Okay. Carried.
Resolution 917, so we're on 917.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, motion.
Well, we have motion by legislator Potiker, second by legislator Perrier. We are now into discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 918, authorizing contract with Carpenter Brothers Moving and Storage, Board of Elections.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine. Discussion.
I'd like to vote no on this one.
I'm sorry?
I would like to vote no on this item.
Oh, okay. Okay, roll call vote. We have legislator Hall voting no.
No, so, yeah, we can call the roll, yes.
No. You going to or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Mr. Hall's in the negative, sir.
Thank you.
Resolution 919, authorizing payment of membership dues, Board of Elections.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 920, authorizing memoranda of understanding with various polling sites, Board of Elections.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 921, authorizing contract with NTS Data Services, Board of Elections.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 922, authorizing contract with Systems Development Group, Real Property.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 923, authorizing write-off and chargeback of taxes in the town of Champlain, Treasurer's Office.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Casta. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 924, authorizing contract with Glens Falls National Bank and Trust Company, Treasurer's Office.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 925, authorizing the county treasurer to appropriate 2021 American Rescue Plan Act funds to various accounts, Treasurer's Office.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Perrier. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 926, awarding bids for office printing and janitorial supplies purchasing.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Potter. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 927, approving application for correction of errors, town of Dannemora.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 928, authorizing various contract amendments for the year 2021 mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Waldron, second legislator Casta. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 929, authorizing contract amendment with Community Connections of Franklin County, mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Waldron, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 930, amending Resolution 832 dated November 10, 2021, titled authorizing various contracts for the year 2022 mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Waldron, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 931, authorizing contract with Planned Parenthood of the North Country Health Department.
Motion legislator Waldron, second legislator Castine.
No.
Yes, sir.
I did not second it. I'm voting no on
Second
this.
legislator, second legislator Potter.
Yes.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
I'm voting
Mr.
no.
Castine, in the negative.
Mr. Castine, negative.
Resolution 932, authorizing contract with Southern Adirondack Child Care Network Health Department.
Motion legislator Waldron, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 933, authorizing contract with Child Care Coordinating Council of the North Country Health Department.
Motion legislator Waldron, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 934, authorizing contract with P&NP Computer Services Nursing Home.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 935, authorizing payment of membership dues to nursing home.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 936, amending Resolution 845 dated November 10, 2021, titled authorizing various contracts for the year 2022 nursing home.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 937, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit a request for proposals for medical director services nursing home.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 938, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit a request for proposals for auditing consulting services nursing home.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Potiker. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 939, authorizing payment of membership dues, office for the aging.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 940, authorizing out-of-state travel with Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall, second, legislator Perrier. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 941, awarding bid for demolition, removal, and installation of a hot water heater, Sheriff's Department.
No, there is no such thing as hot water. It's just a water. So water's already hot, you don't need to heat it up.
Just read the title, sir.
Okay. Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion.
Should we amend it, to satisfy the chairman?
No, I'll let it go. I'm willing to let it go. I am.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 942, amending Resolution 695 dated September 22, 2021, titled authorizing various contracts for the year 2022 Sheriff's Department.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, who was the second on that?
The second on this one was Mr. Hall.
Resolution 943, authorizing payment of membership dues, coroner.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 944, authorizing various contracts for the year 2022 probation.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Potiphar. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 945, authorizing multi-year contract with ACM Global Labs Drug Scan Incorporated.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 946, authorizing payment of membership dues, public defender.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 947, amending resolution number 96 dated February 10, 2021, titled authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the district attorney, federal justice seizure reserve, and state seizure reserve, district attorney's office.
Motion, legislator Castine, second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 948, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Home Energy Assistance Program, Office for the Aged.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Potiphar. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 949, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Child Advocacy Center Mobile Grant, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Potiphar. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 950, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Child Advocacy Center Grant, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Potiphar. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 951, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2021 Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act various program grants, employment, and training.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 952, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Immunization Action Plan Grant Health Department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 953, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2018 Operation Stone Garden Grant, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 954, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for insurance reimbursement, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 955, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the high visibility crackdown grant, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Caston. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 956, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue, for the police traffic services grant sheriff's department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Caston. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 957, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the child passenger safety grant sheriff's department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Caston. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 958, authorizing the county treasurer to decrease appropriation and corresponding revenue for the community-based traffic safety program grant sheriff's department.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Caston. Discussion? Roll call?
Perry?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 959, authorizing the county treasurer to make necessary transfers to and from account treasurer's office.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Hall. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 960, authorizing the county treasurer to transfer landfill revenue to the general fund treasurer's office.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Perrier. Discussion?
I just want to let, this is the same topic I discussed with the board, I believe at Finance Committee during the budget discussion. So this is the methane gas revenue. We count it as a revenue in our budget. We're not going to the reserve. This is revenue that is going through the landfill account, through the general fund as a general revenue. This happens every year.
Roll call?
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Chairman, who was this second?
I believe it was Mr. Perrier, Timmons and Perrier.
Resolution 961, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for 2021 youth services, youth bureau.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Parker. Discussion? Roll call?
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 962, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the youth scholarship grant, youth bureau.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Parker. Discussion? Roll call?
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 963, approving reappointment to the Clinton County Soil and Water Conservation Board, Legislature.
Mr. Timmons, 4-3?
Please.
4-3, shown 4-3. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 964, authorizing payment of 2022 membership dues, Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Henry. Discussion? Roll call?
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Carried. Is there anything further to come from the legislature before we go into executive session? I would entertain a motion to go into executive session. Motion, legislator Hall, second by legislator Timmons. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are now back in the regular session. Thank you all very much. I would, if there's nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Motion by legislator Caston, second by legislator Hall. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are adjourned. Thank you.